Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the ATI podcast. We're in here for episode 139, and our very special guest, the artist spotlight this week, is heavily leaning into the band Dime. Dime, how are you doing, gents?
We're doing great. How are you?
Doing wonderful, man. I'm so excited to have you guys on. Before we start recording tonight, I'll let you guys know that EP from last year, the self-titled, those 6 tracks have just been constantly in the rotation. So, I really am respecting what you guys are doing, and for being some younger guys as well, and having kind of already that kind of sage seasoning sound about you. I'm loving it. And then we've got the live videos online that I've checked out as well. And it looks like you guys are bringing that hardcore energy to your shows. So, man, I'm loving everything I'm seeing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, we look very young, but I swear to you, like, we're very old souls. Like, you'd think that we're like 30 or something when you're talking to us,
Well, I get that vibe. Certainly you guys have some, natural charisma about you when you guys play live. The maturity in your songwriting. These are just a few very small bullet points, but they're very important. It's something I pick up on right away, and sometimes bands got it and they don't, and you guys do for sure. So how long have you guys been a band for now?
I want to say as far as Dime, the word Dime goes, it's probably been like a year or two that we've been together, but this is like a childhood band, basically. Like we started this band as teenagers. That's awesome. And we went switched it up a couple of times. So I've been playing music with these guys probably like 5 or 6 years at this point. Okay. With Anthony, me and Anthony have been making music since we were like 15, like 7 years. Like 7? Yeah, with Anthony, no. With Anthony, it's been probably like a decade already. You know what I mean? But yeah.
And, that time with people kind of develops a shorthand whenever you're playing, and a comfortability and the confidence to be yourself also as a musician and a songwriter. So I love to hear it. A lot of the early bands that I was in, that was a lot of the case, teenage friends that everybody picked up an instrument, we needed a bass. So somebody picked up a bass or whatever the case was, and just would continue to play together, but it was different iterations of bands. So I'm happy to hear that. So what's like maybe a early genre perhaps, or a band that you guys had, like what kind of sound you were going for, just out of curiosity, like what were you into at the time when you first started playing together?
Oh my god, when we first started playing, it's kind of cringe right now, but like whatever, we were young, but like me and Anthony fucking loves Red Hot Chili Peppers, like unapologetically.
Sure.
We were really into like, mostly because of like, not like, Anthony Kiedis, like Skippy Dooby Doo Wop, like no, not that.
Right.
The funk side of it, which is like
it.
Chad Smith and Flea, like you got to respect that. And like as a bassist and a drummer, I'm the
Absolutely.
drummer, Anthony's the bassist, so it's like that was like the thing that we loved doing. The playing to was so fun. You know what I mean?
Did I see somebody with the Red Hot Chili Peppers tattoo in the video by chance, or no?
That's my partner Lauren.
Okay.
She also feels the same about. Sorry, I had to do that pause. We do not like Anthony Kiedis. He's going off the rails, and he's been going off the rails. However, you gotta love the Chili Peppers. Now you have to, but you know what I mean. Like the same thing that Carlos and I were talking about. Like it's just the energy that they bring. They're definitely themselves, all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at least that's it. We pick up some tidbits of what they do, and
sure.
Yeah. So that's probably the tattoo that you've seen going around. She's gonna hate this, but that's
okay. Well, apologies.
It's okay. It's okay for you.
I'll apologize for you in advance. But Red Hot Chili Peppers is obviously a very successful band. So, for that in and of itself, you can't shit on them. Yeah, you're totally right about the Anthony Kiedis crazy shit that's going on with him. But Chad Smith's a real one. I watched those like Drumeo videos him figuring out the 30 Seconds to Mars song in its entirety, like within 10 seconds was incredible.
So cool.
That just right there tells anybody that's a doubter of his, like he literally played what the actual recorded drum part was, largely with a few additional flares,
Exactly.
So, Flea, obviously, he's perhaps the greatest living bassist today. There's probably some like Berkeley cats and stuff, there's definitely arguments for other folks, don't get me wrong, but but yeah, I mean, come on, man, the track record and just the amazing things that he's done. But yeah, the rhythm section is definitely the highlight of that band. Always has been, and been a band since the '80s. I was largely a kid in the '90s, so their impact is just littered all over the '90s. That's really whenever they would reach, I guess you would say, superstardom. So no hate on the Chili Peppers. I was a fan back in the day. Can't say that I'm a fan present day, but
relatable.
If I have to listen to terrestrial radio or I'm like, in some public place, I'd rather hear Chili Peppers than 75% of the other shit.
Exactly. Yeah. True.
Whenever you started jamming around, you're probably jamming around on, covers, songs that you maybe knew, and then that led you to start writing kind of some of your own stuff. Now, I know you said you play drums, Carlos, so when did you actually start playing the drums?
Probably when I was like 11. My grandpa played drums a lot.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and he had like a little electronic kit. Not a little, he had like a badass electronic kit because he just loved drums. Yeah. And then it was like kind of like I just got into middle school, so it was like my turn to like pick something. It felt like Pokemon, you know what I mean, where you get to pick your instrument, and I chose percussion since he was a drummer, and I can already like get ahead in some sort whenever I see him. So yeah, it's kind of like where I started, and then I kind of fell in love with it, and I just kept going, and I would obsess over it over my time in like school and stuff like that.
Hell yeah. So whenever you started playing drums, was it more at home, you got the instrument chosen, or was it like you were in school band or something like that?
So the way that my music director did it was he like obviously not every kid can play the same instrument.
Sure.
So he made it like a contest, is whoever can go home and complete like a musical like notation thing, like what's a quarter note or a half note, like you just fill in the answers. Whoever can turn it in first with all the questions right gets their first pick, and it
very
goes
cool.
Like that. So I had an advantage. My brother already was in high school band. You know what I mean? My grandfather was a drummer, so it was like I was just like, here, answer this for me, and then I got first round pick. Basically, I got first draft.
Very nice. You got to pull those cards whenever you have to, right?
If you're not cheating, you're not winning. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you. How about for somebody else in the band? I'd like to hear where you started at instrument-wise.
Lucas.
Hello, my name is Lucas. I play guitar. So I started back in 2010. I was 13 at the time. My family had always had like music playing in the like house, big like 80s. My dad always said that classical music is like the best music in the world, so he always had it. So there was always like music around, like growing up. And he loved the guitar, so he always had guitars in the house. I mean, growing up, I really liked Green Day. That was like my band growing up. I think that was like the inspiration to like pick up the guitar. And I was going to church at the time. I don't do that anymore. But I got lessons from one of the guys from church, and then I started playing at church like 6 months later. And yeah, it's been like my love ever since.
Yeah, church kind of levels you up playing wise. It's all about practice, repetition, and what have you or whatever. But there's some real characters in church too, like real stone cold musicians sometimes there too. Like especially gospel chops when it comes to drums. That's like my primary instrument.
Oh yeah.
Or some of those gospel bass players are insane as well. Mm-hmm. Those are the two that I always kind of look at whenever when I used to go to church as well. So, but yeah, man, that's cool, man. It sounds like you guys are already off to kind of an eclectic foot with experiences and getting started in music. So that's great. Yeah. How about for somebody else?
I'm Anthony.
Not Kiedis, by the way.
Thank you for clearing this up. Not Anthony Kiedis. Now you can kind of understand the visceral reaction I have when I talk about Anthony Kiedis. It's like he's given a bad name for us.
He's the bad Anthony.
Oh, he bad, all right. Yeah. So yeah, music has always been also in my life, kind of like Lucas. Like my mom had me at a young age, so my mom was like always my best friend, and she would always put me on to whatever she was hip to at the time, which was like Tupac and DMX and Missy Elliott and all that stuff. And then my uncle, on the other hand, my uncles would put me onto more like modern stuff, like more modern rap. But then I had my late uncle, he actually was really crazy into the electronic stuff. He was into Metallica and like opera trance music. So it's
what a
weird thing. Yeah. And when I first started playing music, I actually was a flautist in middle school. I was Thanks, finally. In middle school, I was like the only one in the class who could actually make a noise off of the flute, like off rip. So my director was like, yeah, man, you're going to be the one that plays the flute, please. And so that's literally what I took. I played that for like the majority of my life. And then it wasn't until I transferred out of that one high school to another high school. And then I met Carlos. and he was a drummer. And I mean, the flute and the drums don't really, you know,
jive. Right.
Yeah, sure. So I was like, damn, I gotta do something with this guy. I don't know. And then we were very, very good acquaintances with our high school band director at the time. Like, she was like our second mother, if you will. And it was literally like she needed a bass player, and I was like, my friend is Carlos. Can I play bass?
Yeah.
And she's like, I guess, man. Yeah, sure. Try it out.
Yeah.
And you know, the rest is history. Literally, like I haven't stopped playing bass with Carlos, and we haven't stopped like messing around and creating like that synergy. And yeah, exactly. That's me.
That's almost like the Hot Water Music story. That bassist and that drummer have been together since high school band, and so I love to hear it. How about you, Pablo?
I play guitar and I sing in the band. I started playing guitar, like for real, when I was in high school. My art teacher sold me a guitar because I wanted to start playing. I played when I was younger, but I stopped after like 4 years when I was like 8 years old. And then my art teacher sold me a guitar when I was in high school, and I became obsessed with like trying to be in a band and like do music.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anybody that played music. So when right when I graduated, I met this fool. My first job, which was Old Navy.
Nice. Very nice.
And then he introduced me to this fool, and then he introduced me to that fool. And ever since then, like, we've just been doing the thing, and yeah.
Now, Pablo, whenever you said you first started playing those first few years, what led you to have a guitar to begin with at that time?
I have a lot of like musical people in my family, and my dad always would tell me that he wanted me to be a musician when I grew up. So he bought me like a nylon guitar, and he used to take me like conservatory classes and stuff, and I used to try to do that. But over time, being in a room, you know, every so often with this Argentinian dude, it just got so boring, you know?
I hear you.
So it didn't work out.
What inspired you to buy the guitar in high school, though, and then like re-pursue that?
I honestly don't know. I love music, and it kind of made me sad that I knew so much about music, but not like, I lost all my chops, and I lost all like everything basically, right? And I really I love the guitar, you know. I wanted to pick that back up, and coincidentally, like right after my birthday, I had like $300, and my art teacher had this guitar he was selling, and I was like, fuck it, like I'm gonna spend these $300 on this guitar. And
you still got the guitar?
Yeah, I got the guitar. Yeah, I lowballed him big time. Yeah.
You still rock it?
The pickups are fucked, but it's there. I would never throw the guitar away. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those first guitars are always special.
Yeah.
About what time would you say that, you know, we kind of locked into what Dime is today, you know, that decided you were going to go for that sound and, you know, started to identify creatively that that's what you wanted to pursue?
So when we were a previous name that I will not mention, we were like in the local scene. We had like our songs and whatever. And this was like around COVID. So it was like we made all this stuff, and then COVID happened. And then like COVID happened right as we were like old enough to like hit the scene and actually like gig. So that happened. And then we never really had the chance to like talk to other people and really like have a comparison to like what other bands are actually doing in the area.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like going in blind. So all of our music was like, you know, your first band type music. You know, you're copying like Nirvana and all the big stuff. Nothing really, not really digging deep. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when we finally COVID lifted and we started playing shows and we started hitting up other bands and stuff like that, you know, we would play shows and stuff like that, and nobody gave a fuck. You know what I mean? So I was very aware of it. I'm sure the other guys were too, that we were like, yeah, we'd play a show and then like not many people would come up to us, you know, whatever. It would be kind of weird after we would just play a show and then like dip, like it was kind of weird. And then all the other shows were happening that we didn't get, like we wouldn't get invited to or whatever, something like that. Stuff happened in our like personal lives where like we kind of like stopped writing music for a little bit, not too long, maybe like a couple months or whatever. And then you know, we were trying to write the next thing after we released this, you know, this EP or whatever. And I was just telling the band, I'm like, we finally heard all these other bands and what they were doing, and then a lot of people like showed us cooler bands like Modern Color, if you know them, and you know, like what was happening in like Texas at the time with like Money, Trauma Ray, all these other people. They were doing some crazy ass stuff, and we loved it. And so we're like, let's just write a completely different EP. Let's go heavier. Let's do right. Like we went through so much shit like these last few years. Let's try to like put that into like a project. And then one day I was like, guys, if we want to like just completely get rid of everything, like our like this identity of whatever this band was that we made when we were like 18, 19 years old, and we don't identify with anymore, we're like, now's the time to do it. When we did that, that kind of gave us like a huge like canvas to reach out to other people to help us and try to make something really like meaningful, something very like pretty like visually, and then also we could focus on making like the best we can, sonically, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Most meaningful sonically. So yeah, probably like around, it was like around what was it, like 2021, 2022, that we were just like, yeah, fuck it, let's just like delete everything and like kind of start all over. And then when we did that, and then people started hearing our new stuff, they were like, oh shit, hell yeah. Like people would come up to us like, yo, this is way better than that shit that you did before. And we're like, oh, okay, thanks for telling us now, but
right. Well, it's nice to, be out and gigging. That's one thing that people don't realize sometimes is like that instant gratification that you get, that feedback that you get from people, throwing stuff out online blindly. Sometimes you don't get that. And if the numbers don't go in a direction right away that you are desiring, whatever that is, whether it's realistic or not, it's a little difficult to understand, if what you're doing is working. So I'm glad to hear that you guys, market tested it, played it out in front of people, and then leaned into it from the sounds of it. I would say that, Money is definitely a comparison to you guys sound wise. When I first heard you, I immediately thought of some of the early Title Fight stuff, like the first EP and Shed, and still some of the harder elements of them, maybe a little Trauma Ray in there. I could hear that too. But you guys are definitely of what I would say is like the traditional definition of emo, how it was born out of the hardcore scene, how, we're talking like those late 80s bands like Embrace, stuff like that. I would say that you guys are more akin to that version of emo, not what people have popularized emo to be today. Title Fight 2 falls under that descriptor as well, but a little bit of that, a little bit of the grunge gagey type stuff, even though you guys don't go too crazy with the effects and stuff. But you got kind of jammier breakdown parts, and got to give mad respect to the Foley motivational speaker, Chris Farley clip.
Yeah. Right. Now, as your father probably told you, my name is Matt Foley, and I am a motivational speaker.
Yeah, that character from SNL, that's wonderful. Absolutely popped the minute that I heard that, because that was a huge part of my childhood too. So that's good shit right there, boys. Sounds like you guys really latched on to what sounded and felt right and the good feedback that you're getting. So, that again, this goes into those things I was mentioning earlier, that you guys kind of have this sage wisdom maybe innately in you to, kind of make those correct decisions as well. So you're to be commended for that too.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like when the gratification that we got was like so immense, and we're like, oh, okay, like this is kind of like what people are fucking with right now, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And like in our own sense, it's like that also made us lean into more music to where we're like, damn, like maybe we should start listening to these other bands, and we're like, it just opened up a whole new world, you know what I mean? And it's not like a super new world. Like I myself personally, like I've listened to like Basement and like early Turnstile when I was a kid. I was like 14, 15 in high school, but I really never had somebody to share that with. Like in our high school, me and Anthony's high school, it was literally like SoundCloud rap, and that was it. You know what I mean? If you're listening to anything else, you're pretty much a fucking loser. You know what I mean? So like I listened to that, but I never had anybody to share with, and for someone to like tell me like, hey, if you like that, listen to these other bands that are doing this too.
Definitely.
To this other stuff. You know what I mean? But now that we finally got into the scene, I'm like, oh, okay, like Basement kind of has like, or early Title Fight has like nothing to do with like what I think at the time was like Pearl Jam or Nirvana. It has to do with like all these other like completely different scene,
Definitely.
All these other bands to take reference from, and that's pretty much what we got.
I think everybody always needs kind of that guiding hand at some point too, to kind of make those recommendations, because even with, the internet and advances in technology and stuff, there was kind of like a little time, I will say, that there was a very helpful tool, and that was MySpace back when I was, starting to see myself 18, 19 years old. MySpace, they had the top 5, and I think they eventually had like top 10, 15 or whatever. You could even manipulate your profile and put more bands and people up there. But if you would follow a band on there, you would see the bands that there was in their top 5. So then that would lead to a discovery of other music that maybe you weren't familiar with, or maybe you were tangentially familiar with whatever band, but you never really gave it a chance. So now this band has a validation from a band that you like, you know? So like, for example, just to use something like, let's say I'm following Poison the Well, one of my all-time favorite bands on MySpace, and I see that they got Dillinger Escape Plan in their top 5, and maybe I didn't hear of Dillinger Escape Plan yet. So then I go check out Dillinger Escape Plan. I'm like, holy shit, this is not anything like it. However, there's some connective tissue there, and it's still hard as fuck, and it's great, excellent musicianship also, but it's its own thing, you know? So that was always a fun thing. There was a period of time that I would even look at, you know, like, let's say Spotify in its infancy, you know, like the recommended artists. Well, I don't know if you guys ever pay attention to that nowadays. And I also, somebody that was telling me about the algorithms and how they work on Spotify, it's kind of trash sometimes. It's not, you know, very relative sometimes to whatever artist that you follow too. So yeah, it is kind of hard for that discovery piece at times. But another pro tip for folks that are listening to this conversation, and maybe you're thinking, hey, like, what can I do to find bands that I like this, for example. So these guys are on New Morality ZINE, of course. So you got to give shouts out there. A lot of good bands on there, but a lot of different types of bands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked to Stand Still on the program before. They're on New Morality ZINE, but you've got some things that go even a little harder, like Pain of Truth. My fellows out there, got to talk to them at Furnace Fest last year for a little bit, and great guys. But yeah, you know, so you got a little bit of everything there. I say that to say this: let's go check out record labels, even, you know, see what artists are signed there. Maybe do a little window shopping, and at times you can find people there too. But yeah, you got a really strong point there that, you know, it is very, very special if you've got that guiding hand in your life, and it definitely can lead you down on amazing roads of discovery on music.
Yeah.
Now, playing out, getting those experiences, I'm just kind of curious what led to the opportunity to have the relationship with New Morality ZINE. How did you get on their radar?
We released the EP. Someone posted a video of us saying that we're Secret Title Fight, and it blew up on Twitter. The video got into Nick from New Morality ZINE, and like he saw it and he was like, oh shit, that's awesome. And he pretty much like, it was literally like, we did our release show. That's what the video is from our release show down here in South Florida. A couple of days after that tweet blew up, we got hit up by New Morality ZINE, and, you know, they really wanted to work with us. And so we just like did, you know, like, it wasn't like instant, but we, you know, obviously we did the vinyl and all that other stuff. But yeah, it was pretty much like that. It was pretty simple. Yeah.
That's awesome. A lot of good folks over there, and you know, they've got a lot of deep talent across various genres. So, you know, it's definitely a place I recommend folks checking out. And let's say, you know, our listeners here in this conversation today, if they're not familiar with you guys and they check out your music and like it, I always like to try and shop inventory, see what's available out there for people to go get, because physical media is, of course, a huge way to support bands, and we can't appreciate that enough on this channel. But I know I saw that there was some availability on Death Wish still yet, as well, Death Wish Inc. here in the States, that is. And then I believe that on New Morality ZINE's website, they also, or Bandcamp, that is, they still had some inventory of the vinyl available as well. So if you guys are listening to some Dime now and you're liking what you're hearing, be sure to support these guys and get out there and get a vinyl. Get a vinyl for us.
Yes, not to mention the label that we're kind of like split with right now. They're called Feral Child. It's our label pretty much down here. They have a green vinyl, if you want a green vinyl.
Ooh.
Yeah, very fancy, right? Yeah. So you can also hit them up too. Same price, green vinyl. You have green, blue, or black, you know.
I might have to get that variant, that specialty one then.
Exactly.
That sounds great.
Feral Child, yes.
Well, speaking of which, I did see a couple different videos of you guys online, one of which looked like a hell of a time at it was either a microbrewery, or it looked like you had the nitro tanks behind you. Maybe it was a distillery or something. you guys were real tight. I mean, that was a tiny ass stage. I don't know how the hell you guys made that work, but boy, that room looked like it was lively. And I believe it was a hardcore festival of sorts. And I if I'm not mistaken, what's the story there?
Was that the Equinox? We've played that venue so many times.
Equinox Fest,
like,
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Equinox
I think
Fest?
Equinox was the name. What's some other bands that went on there too?
Equinox booking is actually, I believe it's 2 people. It's our homie Jeff and our homie Toby. Toby's also in a mess of other bands, and they're insanely talented. And so is Jeff as well. Jeff is actually in a crazy ass hardcore band, Fallen God. Fallen God, hell yeah. Yeah, and they honestly, like, they've Jeff has just been booking shows. He's low-key the one, like, keeping the hardcore scene alive, if I'm gonna speak for at least myself, like keeping the DIY scene alive, like in South Florida. Man, like I can't even talk enough about Jeff. Like, he has been down with us like since we dropped the Dime stuff, and kind of sweet because like there are some videos that we have. There's this other venue that has like an eagle in the back.
Yeah.
And I remember playing this one show, and after we played the show, he's just like, "Man, you guys are just so fucking awesome, dude. Like I can't wait until you guys go big or whatever." And it's really sweet and very like heartwarming to hear these really sweet words from a person like Jeff that's been in the scene for like a really long time, and he knows like everybody and like all kinds of different music, and he's listening to new stuff every day, you know, bringing people down from other states to come and play here in our city. And yeah, that's basically just how we know him, just like by going to shows, which is the most important part, is that you gotta go to shows and you have to put your face out there and you have to go talk to people. And even if it's a little bit cringe, like, you know, before we go to a show, we've definitely talked to each other and been like, guys, we're gonna go to this show. Okay, we're gonna go talk to people. Okay, we're not gonna be super cringe about it. We're just gonna be like, hey, what's up? This is me. I really like the show. I love the music. That's it.
Yeah.
Just have a conversation. And just by having a conversation and being like a chill hang, honestly, for me, that takes you an even longer way than if the music is good. Obviously, if the music is good, that is 1,000% like a plus. But whilst we were the other Dead Name band, when people would say, even though we knew, all right, even though we knew that people were not messing with the music, a constant has always been like, you guys are chill though. You know what I mean? Like you guys are a chill hang. You're not weird, and you know we can have a conversation and stuff. Like the music might not be there yet, but you guys got something. You know, like we can chat a little bit, and that's just kind of how it starts. But yeah, that's how we met our homie Jeff. And
very cool.
Man, Jeff is still doing shows. He actually is bringing Fleshwater down to our city. 1,000%. Let's go. Shout out Jeff, Equinox.
Awesome.
1,000%. I love him.
Sounds like you guys need to play with Fleshwater. I'll be the first to say.
Shit. You hear that, Jeff?
I'd love to see it. South Florida is quite the hop and the skip from my location. I'm south of St. Louis, about an hour. So most of my show going and scene is up in St. Louis. I will occasionally travel to a fest show myself. But yeah, we've got a pretty good hardcore scene post-COVID. That is that's rejuvenated in the St. Louis area. We got a lot of good bands on the fringes of various subgenres and echo chambers of hardcore. We actually last weekend, I just attended what's called 314 Punk Music Showcase Weekend. There's a local promotion. 314 is the area code, one of the major area codes in St. Louis. So they put on quite a few shows throughout the area. But there's a guy that's in a punk band, Wes Hoffman, that oversees that. And he kind of, he'll curate shows. He gets contacted. He's friends with labels and stuff. He's got these decade-long friendships with people. Like he's friends with the dudes in MXPX and shit like that. So he's an OG. He's a little bit even older than me. I think he's in his early 40s. Friday night was hardcore night. Saturday night was punk night, and Sunday night was emo night. And it was at these like small venues in St. Louis that you had to, it was almost like a bar hop type concept. But the first one's this badass DIY venue called the Sinkhole in St. Louis. It's a punk bar, only cash, cheap fucking drinks, very inclusive environment. Like that would be a perfect venue to see you guys in my opinion. If you come to St. Louis, they'll treat you right. They got a badass little green room and hangout pad in the back where you can fucking barbecue and just chill. Super dope location. It's like a floor venue too, so like that energy's there. It's like in a historic building with like hardwood floors. I mean, the sound's not the greatest, admittedly, but I think you guys would play fine.
That adds to the vibe, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And people show out for shows there just because there's a show there to start with. So that's all a plus. People not only show out for shows when I'm talking about volume, but they show up. Like they fucking mosh and fuck with bands, and that energy is fed right back up to the bands, So, but yeah, it's a great place. I was at the hardcore night. I had other shit going on this weekend, but I did make it out to the hardcore night, and it was a lovely night. Various bands of different types, like I said, of hardcore there. But a band like yourself, I could have seen on there, but we had a lot of former bands of the show there as well. The Disappeared as well. Future guest, Fortunate Son. Also, St. Louis's very own Direct Measure. They are starting to blow up in the Midwest scene and starting to push out east and west. So. Really looking forward to what they got in the future as well. They usually do Flyover Fest and out in Oklahoma, so that's a fest that's gotten quite big over the last few years as well. So, but yeah, man, I love to see the hardcore scene blowing back up because you guys mentioned it. COVID, it was a dark time for all of us, regardless of the music piece of it. But when it comes to the music as well, some of us realized what we were about to lose, I think, and that kind of reinvigorated things. I know here in St. Louis, I could speak to it. You guys could speak to it in your area even more so. But yeah, a lot of us thought we weren't going to have this anymore, and it seems like people are starting to come out and really be more passionate about it and keeping the scene alive, and a lot of positivity. And I love to see that because that's what hardcore to me is all about.
Hell yeah. And that's great that you say that about St. Louis because we're thinking about hitting St. Louis in the future. It's future plans for sure. So maybe we'll see you in the future, man. We're putting it out there now. We're putting the energy out there now, and the universe will reciprocate it. And we definitely will see each other in the future.
Absolutely. I'm all about it, gents. And, I'd be looking forward to it for sure. I'll be right there catching mofos and blocking people from drop kicking your stacks. And, I like to get up right in the thick of it. I can't get crazy like I used to because I got 3 bulging discs in my back, but I still get up there and feel the energy and let people slap around on me a little bit.
Yeah, you're a real one.
I appreciate it, guys. Well, we mentioned it, the self-titled EP, guys. I think that's 6 tracks that came out February 11th of last year, if memory serves me correctly, on Numerality ZINE. The self-titled EP, that is. I cannot recommend it enough. If you guys have been fucking with the ATI podcast, you know that Dime was already featured on our tracks of the week. The track Heavyweight was one of our tracks of the week last year, and goddamn, boys, I probably drove that SOB through the ground and out the other side of the planet, to be honest with you. It's got to easily be in my top 20 tracks of the last year that I've played, if not top 10. So it's a fantastic track, and I can't recommend folks enough to check out. But of course, in the episode details, we're going to have all these guys' information, where to follow them at. Are you guys most active as far as social media is concerned on Instagram?
Yeah, mostly and exclusively on Instagram.
So we're going to have the Instagram link for Dime, as well as links to purchase their merch, as we mentioned before. You guys got any exciting shows or plans in the future that you'd like to talk about?
We have 2 shows, both. It's going to be local, unfortunately. Sorry. April 20th, we're going to be playing with Redacted because it's not announced yet. And then May, it's going to be a huge show. Everybody's going to be there. We're going to have Redacted, and then Redacted because nothing's announced yet. But
hell yeah,
one thing I can say is that we are in the works of an East Coast tour. Finally, yes. A lot of people have been bugging us to tour.
Yeah,
we've been trying, but it's so hard. Yeah, we have jobs, unfortunately.
Heard.
Yeah, we're gonna make a huge effort to try to make it up to probably from South Florida all the way up to New York, and then Chicago, and then probably back down. So we're gonna try to make that happen, but nothing's confirmed yet. But we're working on it.
As those details are revealed and those announcements are made on social media, we'll be sharing that too, because as people know that listen to our program, anybody that's been on the ATI podcast, in the future, we like to keep people informed and up to date with what the artists have going on. So we will definitely be sharing that information whenever you guys reveal that as well. And I'm really looking forward to those announcements in particular. Man, I just really hope the best for you guys. I really see big things for you if you guys continue on the path that you're on. And just been thoroughly impressed to this point, for what it's worth. Some random guy sitting in his house talking to you now, you know.
Thank you.
Guys, I'm kind of curious individually, kind of what your kind of personal interests are a little bit, to reveal that to our audience as well, and for everybody to get to know you a little bit better. And so I'd like to kind of pick your brains about maybe like let's do like a Mount Rushmore number. So that's 4 albums that you would consider that are very formative your musical fandom. Let's see what you got.
Me? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll start. So formative, I'm gonna have to say, if we're gonna start like top 5, I'm gonna be number 5 would be Color Me Kindness. Oh, sorry, 4. My bad.
It's okay. That we'll say 5's an honorable mention.
Yeah.
That's okay. So if you guys got a hard time narrowing it down, I'll take a 5 as an honorable mention.
Yeah. 5 would be Color Me Kindness, Basement. 4 would have to be It's a Pimple Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
2 would have to be, 3? I'm at 3. 3 would have to be Damn by Kendrick Lamar.
Love that.
And then 2 would be Purple by Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, God. I love you for that one.
Yeah. And then
STP, wonderful band.
Yeah, amazing. And then number 1 would be Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park. That's my number 1 album
I like
of all
that.
time.
I like that. I've been getting a lot of Linkin Park love pop up here and there randomly recently. So, hey, man, I'm not going to bat an eye at any of those. Kendrick is the absolute modern GOAT in rap. It's hands down. I think that if there was any question, I think he fixed all of that with the Not Like Us diss track, as well as this wonderful Gen X, GNX album that just came out here. And
there's one good thing about this year, it's that, for sure.
Absolutely. Anthony, lay it on us.
All right, shout out to my homie Capo, because we recently just did Desert Island albums. Okay, so this kind of goes intertwined with my Desert Island albums and like inspirational albums. Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Okay.
Come on now.
I'm about it.
Come on.
Like it.
All right. Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. Skrillex. Come on now.
Okay. Interesting.
Come on now. Yeah. Sailing the Seas of Cheese, Primus.
Oh, yes. I like that.
Honestly, that one's low-key interchangeable with like Fizzle Fry by Primus.
Yeah, Fizzle Fry I fuck with a little bit more.
Yeah, just because I feel like there are more experimental bangers on there. They're definitely super freaky. Oh, Frog Stomp by Silverchair.
Oh,
really
God,
good.
Like,
love right? It. Oh,
love
man. I think they're Australian, yeah? Shout out the Aussies.
Yes, they are. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's any hope of them ever getting back together.
I know,
yeah,
bro,
Daniel's not about it. But
it's what it is, man.
Yeah, hey, man, they were good while it lasted. What was it, Freak Show, their second album?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that's low key underrated too, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I had both of those when they came out.
Yeah, dude.
Wonderful.
They're fantastic. Great instrumentals, great voice. Like.
Oh yeah, dude. Think the fucking major labels at 17.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck can handle that shit?
And at 17, and like in their teens, they sound like they're chain smoking cigarettes every day because they have a crazy ass voice going on. It's insane. It's super crazy. Yeah. And then maybe I'll throw in like a Stone Temple Pilots in there, just because I love them so much, And then maybe. This one's kind of going to be a compilation, but the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 soundtrack.
Hey, man, I love that because there's a lot of, as far as like bands like Black Flag and
Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah, a lot of that, I discovered those bands because of Tony Hawk specifically.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not a crazy ska head, but man,
that
ska was good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I meant to tell you earlier, too. I saw you boys laughing about the flute business, but But hey, speed. Game calls, boys.
Once again,
they're making that flute hard. So
shout out to the Aussies once again.
Yep, Jamie Joss.
It's because Anthony plays the skin flute most.
Boys, you're being too rough on the man.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, but he's not Anthony Kiedis. We did clear that up.
At least that much, bro.
No. Yeah, we got that going for us, right?
Okay, no, you know what? Here, go take this. You go next. Pablo's going next.
What you got, Pablo?
Wait, I have to intercept because we're talking about game soundtracks.
Yeah.
If anybody knows about MotorStorm, the MotorStorm soundtrack, amazing soundtrack. If you've never heard it before, you need it. Slipknot Duality, a bunch of like electronic music on there too.
I have to check it out because I don't think I ever played that game.
Oh my God. You should look up a compilation because it's basically like desert racing and you can blow up your car, and if you're on a motorcycle and you're in a motorcycle race, you can
Dude, that sounds cool.
whack people out of their car, out of their motorcycles. It's amazing. You should check it out. All right.
I know you guys were talking about some old school rap earlier. So did you guys ever fuck with like the NBA Street games or the Def Jam
Street
games?
V3? Yes.
Yeah. That there's a lot of fantastic tracks on that as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Here you go, Pablo.
My first is gonna be Toxicity by System of a Down.
Okay.
I love System of a Down. I'm not from here, and when I moved to America, one of the first 2 songs I heard were "Lollipop" by Lil Wayne, and then "Chop Suey" by System of a Down, and that it like blew me away.
Goddamn.
So
That's
Toxicity.
hilarious.
I'd probably say Adrenaline by Deftones.
Love it.
I really love Hyperview by Title Fight. That's an album that I could listen to all the time, and I never get like tired of it. And then something Brazil. I just do 3. We can do 3. We do 3.
Hey, that's fine if you're passionate about those 3.
I need those 3.
Yeah.
Also, want to mention, I forgot what the name of the album is called, but King Tubby. There's a crazy, There's a crazy King Tubby album where it's just like insanely like psychedelic dub and stuff and crazy Jamaican stuff going on. Yeah.
Love it.
King Tubby. Now
Love
going
the
to
variety.
Lucas.
Yeah. All right. What you got, Lucas?
All right. I don't think I have an order for this.
That's fine.
There is a problematic one that we don't have to talk about.
I love controversy. Let's fucking go. Let's talk about it.
It starts with a G and rhymes with graduation. We don't. We don't have to talk about that one.
Hey, buddy, let me tell you something real quick. I'll be the guy that fucking calls it out, but Kanye was my favorite artist for like 10 years, probably.
Yeah, my Spotify.
In his absolute atrocious fucking behavior over the last I would guess a little over 10 years now. I just cannot listen to or look at him the same.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it unfortunately soured a lot of that for me. I get it that some people are like, I don't understand, the art's the art. You can't separate it. Unfortunately, in this case, I can't for some reason. I just can't. He just sucks as a human right now.
Yeah.
I hope and it's obviously a lot to do with mental illness. He needs to get that shit figured out.
Yeah.
That's all I can say about it.
That's all that we got to say about it. Anyways, Off the Wall, Michael Jackson.
Fuck
banger.
yes. I love that you picked that because everybody always picks Thriller or Bad.
No. His debut album is
strong
Off
as
the
fuck.
Wall. It's insane.
Strong as fuck.
Then we got Doo-Wops and Hooligans, Bruno Mars.
I do like me some Bruno Mars, I will say.
Yeah.
What do you think about Silk Sonic?
I really like that project.
It's fantastic.
The musicianship.
Smoking Out the Window.
Oh my God!
Come on, man. How sexy is that song?
Skate.
Yeah,
you're talking about sexy. You got to talk about Skate. That's a fun song. And then let's see. I have to put "Awaken My Love" by Childish Gambino.
Fuck yeah,
that's
love it.
That top to bottom. It's a banger album.
Fucking throw that bitch on, marinate, have you a little smoke. I love that.
Yeah, and then I have to put the top album, like number 1, always like in my heart, is Ram by Daft Punk.
Okay.
Yeah,
I really like Daft Punk as well.
Yeah, that's
very cool.
It's a good album. Yeah.
We'll make it nice and easy, and Lucas, we can stay on you. What's heavy in the rotation right now for you? What's something that you've been really spinning a lot lately? Give me an artist or particular tracks, or what you got for me?
Right now, it's Debí Tomar Más Fotos by Bad Bunny. It's
nice.
heavy in the rotation.
I love Bad Bunny.
But also From the Leaves of Your Garden is it's very heavy in the rotation. Those two, I jump around from those two. Also, Fleshwater right now is
hell yeah,
is making its way more into the rotation. But yeah,
absolutely. Love to hear it. It's good. Did you catch the Bad Bunny set at the 50th anniversary of SNL? He had 2 tracks performed. I highly recommend it if you get the chance, because he does, obviously, like a lot of his stuff is kind of, rap influenced more so, if you will, but he does like almost like mariachi instrumentation versions of his songs, and he's dressed like to the nines, and he's fucking dancing while he's singing and shit, and it's fantastic, dude. He's vibing out, and I was already impressed with the guy. I'm a big pro wrestling fan, so it was funny to see him when he wrestled as well, and he actually did a great job, surprisingly. Like I was like shocked. I was like, what the fuck, dude? But like I I'm thoroughly convinced that anything that guy puts his heart to, he can fucking just kill it at. So yeah, man, mad respect for him, and he's starting to do some acting too. So we'll see how that goes for him.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a performer, and like you have to look up to that. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's
even if it's not your bag, you got to respect the talent for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So mine is going to be there's this one Russian electropunk duo. If you're into electronic music at all, they're called Locked Club.
Okay.
There's some really crazy shit. It just reminds me of like hardcore, but like for the electronic world. If you look at one of their live sets, it's just crazy. It's a lot of energy. I've been listening to like a lot of electronic music lately. So another one is like Over Mono, completely different, very chill vibes, very groovy. Because I usually listen to music like while I'm working or something like that, so I just need something to fill the void.
Yeah.
But then when I want something like heavy, this band, this French nu metal band I got put onto by Jeff actually, called Playmo. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
I have not, but I will now.
Yeah, insane. Like they made music like in the early 2000s, and it's very reminiscent of like Mudvayne.
Okay.
They're like French, but they also like they sing in French, Portuguese, and like some Spanish too, which is crazy.
Oh, nice.
But the riffs are hard, bass lines are very groovy. You know, regular nu metal stuff that I've just been like revisiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have an appreciation for music in other languages. Even I'm a fucking stupid, typical Midwest white guy that doesn't know shit from apple butter.
Yeah.
But you know, it doesn't stop me from liking it. Doesn't stop me from liking it. You know, I feel that I can fuck with that.
Yeah. I mean, usually for me, it's easier because I'm one of those people that like kind of doesn't listen to lyrics. I listen to just like the melody. So
yeah, fair.
Like you could be saying like the worst shit ever in a song, and I'd be like, damn, this is a pretty good song. Like, you know, like I don't know what the hell he said, but yeah.
It's not the be all end all typically for me music wise either. You know, I definitely listen for instrumentation, musicality, melody, like you mentioned. You know, that sort of stuff is the stuff that usually catches my ear at first. But you know, lyrics are definitely a plus, and I can't ever say what voice I'm listening for because I like all different types. But you know, I definitely know what I don't like. You know, So that usually is weeds things out pretty quickly as well.
Yeah.
Frank Ocean is always going to be in the rotation.
Hell yeah.
I feel like whether I'm like happy or sad, I can literally always listen to Frank Ocean, dude.
I'm all
They're
about
saying
that.
I look like Frank Ocean, guys. I don't look like him.
They're just fucking with your hair, I think.
They love to do that shit, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frank Ocean is always good. I mean, I love the Channel Orange one. If I'm gonna go even deeper, Nostalgia Ultra is good. If I'm gonna go even deeper, the Lonnie Bro album is crazy. That mixtape that has like 30,000 million songs on it is so fucking good.
Love it.
Also, my homie Riggs was actually telling me about Bill Withers. He has this Just As I Am or Just What I Am album where Ain't No Sunshine is on. Man, you know, those songs aren't really long, but dude, they pack a punch.
Yeah, like, Bill Withers is one of the greatest unsung songwriters ever.
Yeah, man.
And the Two of Us, he wrote that also.
Yeah, exactly. Like all bangers. And then he has this one called Better Off Dead that my friend Riggs was telling me about. He's like, dude, have you ever heard this song? Like, it's about his wife and it's about how he's a piece of shit. And I'm like, yeah, I can relate to this. Yeah, let me get that. So that stuff is really good. I've also been listening to some Sextile, some cool stuff. My friend Chris, he be talking about Sextile, and we kind of like, or at least me personally, I brush it off. And then we went to go see them. DJ did it like a DJ set for like a record release, and I was like, hey man, Chris, this stuff is pretty good. Maybe I'm talking shit. Maybe I should listen to you a little bit more.
Yeah, that's one that wasn't on my radar either. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, the new Sextile stuff is good. Honestly, I don't know if they've released that record that they played, but the one record with like the tongue, the sexy one with the blue tongue, is a really good one. Yeah, some cool stuff on there. Very different vibes. I think that's it for me. Yeah, just a lot of freaky stuff. And Daddy Yankee, always Daddy Yankee.
Daddy Yankee.
I've been listening to a lot of, for like the last couple of months, a lot of Kaytranada, because we went to this festival here in Miami called 3 Points that we were also playing, and we saw Kaytranada, and Kaytranada's that motherfucking dude. Like, he really be doing that shit. I've also been listening to. It's the one thing that got me.
Oh, Amiri.
Amiri, One Thing by Amiri. Have you heard? Do you know that song?
I have not listened to that song. No,
Dude,
I'm familiar with Amiri.
Do yourself a favor, listen to that song.
Yeah.
I listen to that song at least like 10 times a day.
Nice.
Oh my god. Yeah, we got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer by DMX in here, you know.
I love it.
Oh, Chase and Status, or Chase and Status. They have an album called Return to Jungle. Super sick. That's kind of it. I mean, just like here and there, but just random shit. I mean, I recently watched like the Strokes documentary, and not to be corny, but like I used to listen to the Strokes when I was a little kid, so I've been like revisiting like all their albums and having context as to like, yeah, maybe like they were nepo babies in their own way, but also there was so much pressure on them and stuff. Like, it's cool now.
They definitely could have fucked it up still.
Yeah, like looking back, like seeing how they could have just like fumbled the bag so hard and like they didn't, you know?
Right.
But everybody was telling them that they did. So I've just been like revisiting their music and stuff. Just like listening to it. But yes.
I keep hearing about DMX here in this conversation tonight, so I got to know what's a favorite DMX album. Can anybody off the top of their head?
Wait,
maybe
wait,
DMX track?
I got the right person right here. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
All right. Hold on. Not to be a fake fan, but I gotta look it up just because. Okay. So, come on, baby. It's Dark and Hell's Hot. That's gotta be the one, dude. That's gotta be the fucking. Or
that's hot, but
because okay,
that's hot,
flesh of my flesh,
flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood.
Okay, I'm
answer.
totally lying because my
That's
friend Riggs again. Shout out to my friend Riggs again. He actually gave me this album on vinyl for my birthday.
Oh, nice,
dude. And it has like the blood in it. I honestly started crying, and I had such a heartfelt moment with him because I'm like, dude,
love
what?
That. Dude.
Oh my God. Also, Woodstock 99. Who is not going to talk about Woodstock 99, that performance where he's literally performing to the whole world?
Buddy, I got a hilarious DMX story.
Oh my God, please.
But, okay, so I work for this hospitality company, and the headquarters was down in Orlando, so we actually had to fly down to Orlando for a meeting. And I got on the plane. As soon as I got off the plane, I started getting messages from my friends because they're like, hey, did you see DMX? And I'm like, of course I didn't see DMX. What the fuck are you talking about? And they're like, dude, he just literally got in trouble at the fucking Lambert Airport, which is the major St. Louis airport, the only one, because he fucking got drunk at Chili's and got up on the tables and started singing and shit. Like he was singing like religious hymns and shit, and he was preaching.
He
was preaching sermons. Yeah, and he got fucking thrown out of the Chili's in the fucking airport. Like within hours of me being at the airport, I had just missed him evidently.
So do we think that he's valid for that though? Because the 3 for Me combo and the Margarita of the Month will do something to you. It'll also make me sing some hymns, bro. I mean,
I love it. But yeah, man, you throw on Bring Your Whole Crew. And I'm not a violent person, but I will fight somebody.
I'm so glad you said that, my friend, dude.
Man,
yeah.
That is a track. That is a track that will get the blood flowing.
Also, just what a hard ass album cover. I'm gonna show it to the people again,
for sure,
bro.
For
He's
sure.
dipped in blood. He looks so sexy. Yeah. Oh my goodness, bro. He is so insane, man.
He is an absolute unit. And
thanks for bringing this up.
I wish that man was still in the world because if nothing else, endless entertainment. What a character. What an absolute character. For sure. Not many like him. Won't be many like him in the future.
Exactly.
Well, guys, I've had a wonderful time talking to you tonight. I really appreciate it. I know you guys are, I believe, an hour ahead of me time-wise, so I know you guys are probably running on fumes at this point, and I know we all got day gigs and all that shit, too, so I really appreciate the time. I'm always grateful of people's time, but it's been a fucking banger of a conversation. Glad to get to know you guys a little bit better. Validates my own personal fandom, and I hope it does for everybody else that comes to check you out on this conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Barrett. Thank you so much also for this crazy convo. I never would have thought I'd been talking to you about DMX and stuff, dude. So this is really sick. Also, just thanks for giving us the chance. And I mean, also like that's what I say to everybody, dude. Like, thanks for giving us the chance. Like that is just the one thing I'm so grateful for is like, you know, you didn't have to give a fuck, but you kind of did. So,
well, you guys made it easy. You guys made it easy.
Thank you, dude. Hopefully we see you in the future for sure. Not hopefully, we will.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to happen. It's just not a matter of if, but when. Right?
Exactly.
Well, I always like to make sure that I lean into the nuggets of knowledge and pieces that we get with people. And I didn't want to run away from the comment that you made earlier as we wind things down here. And that's the fact is it's very important to get out and network at these local shows. You never know what conversation you have with a particular person, what that might lead to. Again, a highlight of the maturity of you guys for you to, pinpoint that out and say, hey, we need to get out, we need to mingle with people and, just have conversations with people, because that is a key to the scene building that we've been hitting on here and there randomly throughout the conversation tonight as well. And, it's a beautiful thing. And I love to see that that's something you guys are locked into as well.
Thank you. I love
This is Barrett from the ATI podcast, here to talk about the MANIC Compression Group. The various podcasts that make up the MANIC Compression Group include ATI Podcast, Waxing On with R&J, Nod Narb's Closet from Ed Ozen, and It's Just Two Movies. The MANIC Compression Group is a voice for the voiceless, a platform for those dream chasers. The various creative arms of the MANIC Compression Group all have one goal in mind, and that is to bring a spotlight to underground artists and amazing artistic works. ATI Podcast, hosted by yours truly, focuses in on interviewing rising artists, content creators, and small businesses. Waxing On with R&J, hosted by brothers Ridge and Jake Jackson, gives love to physical media. It promotes purchasing physical media as a means to support artists, album reviews, details on production and audio quality on various formats, all with the end goal in mind to give some love to some amazing artists. Outside of the physical media love, you're going to get reviews on recent concert viewing experiences, as well as local show calendars. Nod Narb's Closet focuses in on miniature painting, the D&D world, role-play games, as well as various niches in the hobbies of 40k Warhammer, Dungeons & Dragons, and tabletop RPGs. Led by Brandon Stewart of Ed Oz In, Adnar's Closet brings attention to the many talented people involved in the hobby. It's Just Two Movies, hosted by Danny Key in a rotating guest panel, covers just that, 2 movies. One critically acclaimed or favorably viewed, and a secondary movie probably not good, but the hope is that it is so bad that it's entertaining. Sit back, enjoy some libations to the velvety tones of Danny King and guests with an injection of jocularity and improv comedy. The MANIC Compression Group can be found across all podcasting platforms, but the full experience can always be enjoyed on YouTube. We thank you all. Stay safe out there.